In this pen, we are looking at some about 10-week-old black copper Marans. By this age, you can see that the cockerels are really discernible from your pullets. You can tell by the size of their comb, and also the cockerels have much more copper coming in their hackle feathers, and you can even see some copper coming in around the wings, and usually right around the saddle feathers. Saddle feathers are going to be right on the end of the back, right where the back meets the tail. The best angle to get a picture of saddle feathers is up looking down. Black copper Marans are a breed, in my opinion, who you're going to be if it's like a bird that you're serious about, you're going to be evaluating that bird well over a year old, maybe up to 18 months to 2 years. These birds will continue to fill out, and after that first 18-month molt is when you can really see color. But at this age, you can be looking at eye color. In general, you want your Marans to have a reddish bay eye color, but do you see how this guy's eye, actually both of these, look kind of greenish? That color will change as they get older, and my guess is that these guys will have a nice eye color. What we don't want to see in Marans is dark eyes. We don't want to see black, and we don't want to see yellow. These guys are mostly growing out of it. You can see it on that cockerel right there, and I'm talking about that white feather right there on the primaries. That white feather is characteristic of Marans. Those feathers will molt out as the bird continues to grow and come into its like later adolescent adult feathers. Oh look, you can see his saddle feathers coming in. The other thing to take note of on a couple of these birds, this one in particular, you'll see some white tips on feathers on the chest, and there's one little pullet with them too. Those, again, also should molt out as the bird ages. That's nothing that I'd be concerned about right now. It doesn't mean the birds mix. It's just a thing that's really common in Marans. He's got some right down there too. Those should molt out as these birds age and continue to feather out. I'm also looking at the feathers on the shanks and feet at this age, which these guys look pretty good. The Marans have feathered shanks, like medium feathered. So you want the outside of the leg to be feathered and the outer toe maybe up to that second toe, but not any more than that. So I say they're like medium feathered. These birds have really nice feathered shanks. They get that from Don Juan. Also, the color of their legs and feet, you can see should be kind of like a black slate color, and then the pads of the feet should be a pinkish, sort of fleshy color. So not yellow, not green. And then this lady right here, yes, you ma'am, is going to be a little model for us because she has what is called some mossiness. Do you see on those feathers right there, right on the tips of the feathers? It almost looks like there's some like penciled, splotchy brown. That is called mossiness. Mossiness is another thing that is super common in Marans, but it's not something that we want to work with if we have a choice. It is possible with this bird right here. She doesn't have a lot of mossiness, so it is possible that, like with the white feathers, as she continues to feather out and get her more adult feathers in, that those feathers could molt out, but that's something that I'll want to keep an eye on. And if she grows into her adulthood with those mossy feathers, then she would not be a good candidate in my Black Copper Marans program. Mossiness is genetic, and it pretty much almost always passes. Like, I have not seen a scenario where I've worked with a mossy bird that she hasn't passed it down to her offspring. So I mean, really, even the fact that she is mossy probably means that there's a bird somewhere that has a brown feather or some mossiness in their feathers. And look, for somebody who's breeding for egg colors or like just beautiful birds, it doesn't really matter at all. I don't even think it's like a disqualifying factor if I were to show birds, but it's not a desirable trait. And these guys have a lot of growing to do, so I expect to see more copper coloring coming in for these females and definitely the males. They have a lot of feathering out, a lot of growing, and a lot of filling out to do. You know, the other thing that you can be paying attention to at this stage, maybe a little older, is their combs. You want your Marans to have 5 pointed combs, and they should be straight combs. Hopefully they'll take after this guy, who's not their dad, but he comes from the same genetics.